A British judge has thrown out an extradition request for a high-profile critic of Turkey's President Erdogan, describing the bid as politically motivated. Akın İpek was arrested by British police in May after Turkish authorities said he was a terrorist and wanted in connection with an attempted coup. Our Foreign Affairs correspondent Jonathan Rugman has been talking to Mr İpek about falling foul of President Erdogan and the consequences.
Good morning. In a London court this morning, this fugitive from Turkish justice was fighting an attempt to jail him for 132 years. Akın İpek had been one of Turkey's richest men, head of an industrial conglomerate worth, he says, over $10 billion. 27 companies in all, gold mines, newspapers, TV and radio stations. An empire which included this luxury hotel on the Mediterranean. All this has now been taken over by the Turkish government after Mr İpek fell out with President Erdogan. He fled here 3 years ago, and in an exclusive interview he told me he's accused of trying to overthrow the Erdogan government and of being a terrorist.
Well, I cannot go home because they would arrest me. They would put me in a prison cell, just like my brother, and nobody would be able to tell the truth, realities, and nobody would be able to defend our legal rights anymore.
Back in 2014, protests erupted in Turkey after Mr. Erdogan was accused of hiding tens of millions of dollars. He said it was a treacherous lie, and fearing that he might be toppled, a crackdown on Turkish media organisations began. Mr. İpek's businesses were raided and his television stations taken off air.
The editor-in-chief argues with authorities before the signal is cut and the station seized by government officials.
They have a hate against me, and their hate is probably in the maximum level. I am one of the person they hate in the world, probably they can point out.
But nobody is hated more than the alleged plotters behind this 2016 coup attempt. Though it failed, some 250 Turks were killed. And Mr. İpek was accused of laundering money on behalf of the alleged mastermind. He's Fethullah Gülen, a Turkish cleric living in exile in Pennsylvania. The Turkish tycoon has admitted meeting him 5 or 6 times, though both men deny all knowledge of the coup attempt.
When was the last time you met Mr. Gülen?
It has been a long time, maybe in 2014, maybe when I went to the United States.
So you are a friend of his?
I am a friend of Mr. Maybe the friend is not the right word. I know him, I respect him, I admire what he did. And
because the Turkish government would say, well, he was behind the coup.
The thing is, I know these people for maybe more than 25 years. I haven't heard a lie from these people who have been called Gülenists in my life.
In May, President Erdogan gave the Prime Minister a list of alleged terrorists he demanded to be extradited. Mr. İpek was arrested by police a week later. The court was shown this video of the president's son-in-law talking about strangling Gülen supporters. And this video of a former government minister saying they would beg to be put to death. So it was hardly surprising that a judge today ruled that Akın İpek could be badly treated in Turkey, that its request was politically motivated and rejected. Though Mr. İpek claims Turkish government agents have followed him here too.
I have been followed in London and secretly filmed by those acting on behalf of the regime. I have received dozens of death threats provoked by the actions of those at the highest level of the Turkish government.
It is impossible for us to accept the refusal decision, Turkey's Justice Minister tweeted in response. Our expectation from the UK is to extradite all fugitive terrorists and to show its friendship. Mr. Erdogan was today hosting leaders from across the Islamic world. While he's still seeking justice for the murder of a Saudi journalist, his government has launched over 400 extradition requests for alleged coup plotters around the globe.
All of them
The
are
Crown
official,
Prosecution
and
Service
all of
is
them
now
are,
appealing on Turkey's behalf in this first landmark UK case. And nobody expects the Erdogan government to stop hounding its critics wherever it can find them.
Jonathan Rugman there.